Heads.
You're with the Break-a-Leggers!
And we are in London's West End at the Duke of York's Theatre
To see the play Mary Stuart.
Stay tuned to find out how many legs,
Whether it's break a leg
or leg it. Before you lovely people go any further,
to make sure you've always got your finger on the theatrical pole.
for theatre news, reviews and interviews,
Hit subscribe now!
hit subscribe now. Come and see this show, and please tell us what you think, whether you agree or disagree. Comment below.
Yeah, we've had some lovely comments recently, so thank you, Mrs. Cronal. Great to know you're watching. Keep watching, keep commenting.
And also Ben, Vic, also we see and hear you too.
Thank you. So, Mary Stuart. Now, there's a lot of theatre in London. There's a lot of theatre throughout the country. And it's not often that the Leggers revisit a show. But we actually caught this last year at the Almeida. And after a sort of 12-month hiatus, it's transferred to the West End and we're back.
Yes, really excited about this. Now, I remember this is one of our earlier reviews, and I think we said at the time, this show needs a West End transfer, because a lot of productions that are first off in the Almeida, then transfer in kind of an Almeida West End kind of season deal. Collab, and we're so happy that it has finally happened. 12 months on?
Yeah, 12 months on. Now, a lot of the cast are back, including the two lead cast, who are Lia Williams and Juliet Stevenson, playing at the toss of a coin either the role of Queen Elizabeth I or Mary Stuart, Mary Queen of Scots.
Which is such a feat as an actor to be able to know both sides of the parts. I mean, it's done often. The last time I can remember is Frankenstein over at National Theatre. I know we spoke about that last time.
But they got warning, because they knew who was going on when.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this, is decided by the flip of a coin in the opening moments of the piece just who is going to be playing what.
I mean, crazy, right? What a kind of anticipation. Now, if you want to see both play both parts, you can do that by seeing a two-show day, so either a matinee midweek or a Saturday. The first show on each of those days will be coin toss, but the second one will be role reversal, so whoever didn't get those roles first time round gets them the second time round. We've come for a matinee, which means we get the coin toss, and you know, I thought, let's leave it up to the fates, let them decide.
The show is directed by Robert Icke, who was Associate Director of the Almeida Theatre.
Yes, and also he has adapted this piece from Schiller's original text for Mary Stuart into a more modern contemporary retelling. So he's done a lot of work on this piece, and he's great. He recently did Hamlet, which was at the Almeida and then transferred to the West End. He did Oresteia, which got loads of awards. He's young, he's fresh, and he's at the top of his game right now.
So it's 2 acts.
Yeah, absolutely, and it tells that story of the fight for the throne between Elizabeth I and Mary Queen of Scots, told in 2 acts, runtime of around 3 hours, but has 20 minutes in between, which is where we're going to catch you next.
So we've come to the interval of Mary Stuart here at the Duke of York's, which means it is time for the Break-a-Leggers
30-second interval breakdown. Go!
What do you think so far?
Yeah, amazing. We've got so lucky. We have it the other way around this time, with Juliet Stevenson playing the Queen Elizabeth and Mary Stuart by Lia Williams. Really good, just beautiful, pacey, everything I remember. What about you?
Yes, it's quite reminiscent of Ivo van Hove's View from the Bridge in terms of its simplicity, in terms of such strong performances by not only the 2 leads but the whole cast. I'm literally gripped on every single word that's been said. It's such an intriguing story, that twist and... We've come to the end of Mary Stuart here at the Duke of York's. Second time we've seen it now, although a different venue. What did you make of it this time?
It's a phenomenal piece of work from all angles. Creatively, the script is fantastic and the performances are excellent. A stronger set of 3 in the West End right now, I don't think you'll find. It is a great show. It's pacey, it's interesting, it's got historical merit, you learn something, yet it feels totally contemporary even though it's set in Elizabethan England. It's a real achievement, and it's a pleasure and a thrill to watch. What about you? But it's all right, you know.
Well, let's go from the angle of. So, firstly, I feel very fortunate, or we feel very fortunate, that we got to see the other way around. So, the first time we saw Juliet playing Mary Stuart, and this time round we got to see Lia Williams. And I don't know if there's a preference of part. I almost feel as if Mary Stuart is the more beefier of parts to perform, but both of them are very exposed.
I have a preference.
Which would you say is your preference?
For me,
if you could play one of those parts.
Not if I could play them in what I've seen played.
Okay.
No, I thought they were both great, and they both gave an interpretation which was different to the last interpretation that I'd seen. For me, there is a hardness about Lia Williams which worked as Queen Elizabeth in that commanding sort of presence, and there is a lovely lightness of touch with Juliet Stevenson which worked well for Mary Stuart. Now I don't know whether that's just because that's what we saw first.
So we're kind of a bit biased by what we're exposed to.
But
I can see where you're coming from.
I think it suits. I mean, as actresses, they're both the best. They are the best in the business.
There's so much going on in terms of subtlety, in terms of strength. It's often said that there's not enough work out there for women, or they're not exposed enough. I mean, this takes female actors to the peak. It gives them so much good material.
It's a
to work
celebration
with.
of women in theatre.
A pure celebration. The text they get to work with, and the journeys they can go on, and each part is fantastic. It's very sexual. It's very sensual. It plays on pity and empathy. It plays on power and strength and honour and birthright. Like, there's so much in there. There's trust as well. In terms of the plot, it twists all the time.
In the hands of these women, it's just effortless and beautiful and an absolute joy from an audience point of view. I feel there's nothing these women couldn't do after seeing what they do night after night at the drop of a hat, a literal flick of a coin, and they can pull each, from their repertoire, a whole gauntlet of emotions that are different from one character to the next on that night.
Now, this is what I think works really well, and why it isn't just a gimmick, or how whatever the gimmick is in terms of flipping or spinning the coin at the start of the piece plays well into the piece, because both of them are born into, in terms of Mary Stuart and Queen Elizabeth, their roles could be reversed.
Yeah, it could have been the other way around for either of them.
From the start, when they meet, and at the tragic end, hopefully not spoiling it, because it is history after all.
Did you pay any attention in history class?
But the way that is played, with both of them almost looking at each other, like their roles could have been reversed. Through whatever twist of fate could have happened. And they say God smiled on Elizabeth, which is why she walked the path she walked. So I think, in terms of a concept, it really echoes and amplifies and emphasises
their lives,
the core of what this piece is about.
Absolutely. There is such depth and humanity in this story, and it's a tale about empathy and understanding as well. It's just so well bloody written and well adapted.
Yes, it's almost like Shakespeare text, but without Shakespeare text. But it's without that language. It's so text heavy, and when we kind of say it's been stripped back in its production, it is literally about the text and the actors.
Yes.
There's no thrills.
There's no hiding behind anything. If you're looking for a show that's got massive set pieces and bells and whistles, it's not a bells and whistles type show, but it is a heart and humanity show. Gotta say, we need to say something about the men. There were men in it? There are men in it, and there are some fantastic men in it. The whole company is so strong. Yes,
very strong.
The women seem to run away with it, but John Light as Lester gives a fantastic performance. We saw him in Carmen Disruption, actually, playing. He wears a suit very well. If there's a part with a suit, I would want to give him that part. He's quite sexy for an older man.
He was also in it when we saw it at the Almeida, and I was delighted to have him back. He was brilliant. I almost felt as if he was better this time round.
Maybe eased into the role a little bit.
I don't know if maybe he was just good the first time round as well, but I thought he was fantastic as Lester.
New to the cast is Elliott Levy as Burley, and he had a lovely. I liked his voice a lot. He had a kind of there was almost a bit of comedy to his character, and I don't know why, but I almost felt like smiling whenever he spoke.
He's kind of got that.
He's got a character. He's a real character.
Yeah, he's great. I saw him at the Donmar Warehouse in Coriolanus, and he was fantastic in that. He's very much at the top of his craft, very natural,
Yes.
and so confident, and lovely light and shade as well. He suits as well that kind of political hierarchy kind of role very well.
And I know that you were also a fan of Ruvi Darmalingam, who had the same role at the Almeida, and is now back for this playing Mortimer.
Yes, lovely, fresh, young talent, which is nice. It's lovely to see a diverse cast as well in this.
Yeah,
Not only
so
championing
diverse.
sex in terms of the females, but also a very diverse cast in terms of race.
Yeah, which is brilliant. I've got to say something else which was a big standout to me is the soundscaping on this piece. Paul Arditi, no surprises, has just done The Jungle at the Young Vic, doing Beginning, which is just running here in the West End, Labour of Love that we saw recently. He seems to be a bit of a go-to man. Amadeus, he got an Olivier Award, a nomination for Best Sound Design for that. Paul Arditi is a master. The subtlety of the soundscape in this, yet it's constantly there and constantly menacing and has different touches of tempo, and it's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It is, because it's throughout. But
Yeah.
like I say, there are the touches that come out to emphasise certain moments, like slight clicks going on, or just certain moments to kind of emphasise, but not in a bit of
It's not overwhelming, it's not distracting,
it's so subtle.
but brilliant.
Works extremely well. So set-wise, a simple set. It's just a simple revolve that at one point goes extremely fast.
It does go quick.
I was worried they're going to go flying off, but again, that's the thrill. There's no more than that.
Yes.
Apart from that, it is just about the cast within that space.
And that's Hildegard Bechler doing the design, who also did Hamlet for Robert Icke. He likes his team. She did Oresteia as well. So
both
yeah.
at the Almeida. And the nice thing about Almeida and West End, Almeida transferring to the West End shows, they did it with Oresteia, they've done it with this. I'm not sure, we didn't catch Hamlet when it transferred, but they recreate the Almeida stage on the main house stage in the West End. It's almost like being back again.
They did something very similar with King Charles III and tour as well, where it was literally just like being at the Almeida on stage.
Yeah.
Also, new composition by the award-winning, really popular music artist Laura Marling, who gets a song in this piece, which again emphasises that it's lyrically beautiful. It's just a guitar. It's so soft and simple. Yet, even though it's a contemporary, almost folk-esque song, seems to fit perfectly
so well
with the piece.
And because the piece is modern as well. It's done in modern. It's only at the end do we start to see a twist of period. But otherwise, throughout, it is just suit and simple clothing. Again, stripping everything back, so it is purely about the relationships between each character.
Yeah. Robert, you know what you're doing, Mr. Icke, and you do what you do very, very well. Thank you. It's a joy.
I guess you're probably wondering how many legs?
Well, for Mary Stuart, currently playing a limited run here at the Duke of York's Theatre, we are going to give 5!
Yes, it's a full house, a fantastic piece of text that I think anyone would kill to get their hands on, both in terms of creatively, as a director you'd want to put it on, as a performer you would want to handle that piece and be given those fantastic speeches and that interplay between other characters.
Yeah, I think the only hesitation that we have about, I mean, we gave it a 5 first review, do check that out, was that in a larger house you lose a little bit of intimacy of venue. It can't be helped. It's moved from what's the Almeida, 200 to 300 seats? It's a tiny little beautiful place.
You're a stone throw away from everything, so you can read everything that is going on people's faces. Transferring to a main big house,
depending
in
where
West
you're
End.
sat, maybe you'll lose a few of those little tiny moments. But do you know what? It's not enough to knock a whole point off. See this piece, and if you can't catch it here, it is going on a very, very brief UK tour, visiting Cambridge and Bath and another venue.
Is it up north? Is it Manchester or Liverpool?
Salford. Yes, it's Salford. So
Salford and Manchester.
yes. So hopefully it's coming near you in the next couple of months. So if you can't make it to London, check that out. We'll leave a bit more information down below.
But hey, that's what we thought.
What did you think? We'd love to know.
Yeah, please let us know if you agree or if you disagree. That's the place to comment.
And if you want to be the first to know about our brand new videos, hit the notification bell. Then we'll pop up for you. We're the Breaker Leggers, and we'll catch you again soon. Bye.